G'day, snappers, and welcome to the Sunday Snap, coming to you through the Ballr podcast feed. My name's Jono, coach of Hungry for More, and here tonight, this is the podcast where we're going to give you all of our snap reactions to the NRL SuperCoach round that was. Here to do it with me, he's still up there in Brisbane at Magic Round. He's the Sultan of Spicy Takes, the Prince of Pods, the Coach of Tubes Pods. Tubes! How are you, mate?
Jono!
Fired up.
I'm good. I'm fired up. I've come from Suncorp. This is feels a very special edition of the Sunday Snap. I'm doing it from the house. We've been staying up here over the weekend, and we're making it a short, sharp one because straight back to Caxton afterwards to finish off the weekend.
How was your first Magic Round experience, Tubes?
Yeah, I loved it. It was great. It was I think there's a lot of hype for Magic Round, and it's one of those experiences that I feel like has lived up to it. It's a big weekend though. Like it's just like early morning flights, getting up and about, late Friday night. Friday night was I'd say that's where the Ballers went big. But yeah, it was good. I don't know. What do you reckon? It was certainly very lively and very nice to see a lot of Ballers out and about. And coming up, and they wanted a bit of daddy.
It was so much fun. Like, there's no way I'm missing Magic Round again. I'm an every year Magic Round guy from now on. I came home and said that to my wife. So I'm going every year, and she went, "Oh, is that a conversation you've decided upon yourself? Have you?" But it was so good, and like obviously with the official Ballr meetup out there at the Last Man Standing pub. And that was so much fun. Thank you to everyone who came out there for that. It was so good to meet a whole bunch of people. But like you said, Tubes, just meeting Ballers at the footy. A couple of rows behind us, there was some Ballers, a couple of rows in front. And you beat the Caxton, you just hear a Baller coming out from somewhere. So it was great fun and so good to meet people. But just an overall great weekend, Tubes. If there's anyone listening who hasn't done a Magic Round and you're a rugby league nerd like you and I are, get yourself in for next year.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Just great buzz walking down Caxton Street, getting around. I don't think we made it. We didn't make it to the Star. I know there was another sort of footy zone, but just felt like hanging around Suncorp and being around Caxton Street seemed to be, it was just such a good vibe that it was worth doing. One of my most enjoyable parts was when people would come up and be like, "G'day, daddy," or "You Baller," and then they'd just be like, "You guys are from Ballr. I'm a baller," and they refer to themselves as Ballers. It was just good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was great fun. So definitely looking forward to doing it again. But Tubes, we'll get into the actual meat of the pod, and we're going to start off a little bit negative after a positive weekend. We're going to start off with the rage trades. Are you little? The first time we're actually doing this on behalf of our great Ballr contributor C-Mac. James Tedesco, Tubes, 21 points. Just C-Mac had him as the captain. It was like a last-minute Magic Round vibe pick. He'd been looking for reasons all weekend why he didn't want to captain Nathan Cleary. And then about 2 minutes before kickoff of this game, we just got the C-Mac message with the C on Teddy. And I can't remember Teddy playing a much poorer game ever.
Yeah, and I mean, whilst he was very wrong about Teddy, he wasn't that wrong about the Cleary fade.
Just no one to fade him
too. No one to fade him too for the weekend. It was a weird round. But yeah, I mean, the only good news for Teddy owners, doesn't help C-Mac as a captainer, but I think he's played himself out of that Origin jersey. If there was any hope, as it reported over the weekend, that he might be making Origin. So, yeah, I mean, just a given then that he's a hold. Roosters obviously have the bye next week, but he'll be back now for round 13, and I'm sure he'll be fit and firing. The Roosters need to rocket up him.
Yeah, they sure do. They would really disappoint that whole game. It's pretty funny. Like, I know we all the time on all the Ballr stuff, we talk about playing and say, "Oh, bit of an Origin risk, Origin chance." We were dwarfed by the commentators just today's game. I was watching today's games back in Canberra. I flew home this morning, and everyone's an Origin chance according to the commentators. So I don't know. We'll see if Teddy's going to make it or not. But yeah, 21 points. I would imagine he's probably never had a worse 80-minute game than that in the last 5 years, probably since he's been a Rooster, like a non-injury impacted game. And I think Ballr put out a bit of content of like the chances of Tedesco getting a 20 or less was 99.9% if playing 80 minutes. And he got very, very close to that mark.
Oh, it was 0.1% chance that he would get 20 or less.
I think that's
They
what I
just get
saw.
Crazy.
Yeah.
The little bit of behind the scenes look at the model there from Ballr. Just a sneak preview.
Tubes, let's get into some ready to explode players. This is all taken from the Ballers Only Discord. The first one comes from Bunched Up, and he's chucked out there Jaden Campbell. He had 62 points today, a line break and a forced dropout where he's only attacking stats. Obviously now second game playing 5'8" outside of Zane Harrison. What do you think, Tubes? You're an owner of Jaden Campbell. Are you seeing enough out of him to recommend him as a buy to other ballers if they're looking to sell Nathan Cleary next week?
Yeah, because he's only going to still be available in half, won't he, for next week? Hasn't played enough games at 5'8". I don't think he's a bad option. I thought he did look very good and was starting to get a little bit more involved. That line break just was some very nice fancy footwork. I actually think the arrival of Oliver Pascoe could be very good for JC. Just he sometimes takes off and plays a little bit off the cuff, knowing when to take off, and JC might
off the cuff. Okay, just to clarify. Okay.
And so when he plays off the cuff like that, that's good for JC once he plays with him a bit and gets his timing right, running off him.
Yeah. You want to play with Pascal off the cuff. You got it. So, no, it does. He looked up and about. And I just like these. He's a little bit more basey, a little bit more running the ball this week, JC, which was good to see. I don't know if I've seen enough. I'm going to have to sit back and have a bit of a think about it because the halfback stocks, and we're going to talk about this when we get to the Wars game, there's not much doing unless a Wars cheapie comes through. Next one, Tubes, comes from a good friend of the show, Fenno, and he's put forward Dom Young. Dom Young had 102 points today. Obviously scored a hat-trick in that game against the Titans. The Knights just in general look to be going right a lot more than left in that game today for stretches.
Yeah, but, I mean, for me, if you're going to do the Dom Young pod, it was probably last week. Just with those two games that they had coming up. And I know it's easy to say that in hindsight when he's gone 120, 100. But he proved again today he really needs to score 3 tries just to ton up. They're going to go through this shaky origin period. I think Dylan Brown looks really good, obviously Gagai, which bodes well for Dom Young. So it would be a pod play, but I think you've probably missed the boat and you're just relying on too many tries for him.
And also it's just how many Knights do you want factor? Like how high is he on your list of priority when it comes to the Knights? And maybe you can anti-pod one of the other ones and get in Dom Young. But like you said, he needs tries. The draw stays pretty nice though, despite the fact they miss rounds 12 and 15. Last one, Tubes, comes from Tiz. This is one I was like, Tubes will like this. Aaron Clark, Tubes, priced at 650K. He's had a 90 today with a try. And the reason Tiz was putting him forward is because Tiz is saying that if the Wars are losing Ford and Barnett to Origin, and you'd have to think they're losing at least one of them, probably both. We'll see those Origin. By the time people listen to this, the Origin teams will probably be out tomorrow. But yeah, try today, 65 in base plus power. He had 62 minutes, most minutes he's played all year. He's basically been locked in from 50 to 55 for the season. What do you think of Clark as a buy coverage little pod play?
Probably a good buy coverage pod play. Certainly for the short term, as you say, if we lose both Warriors players, probably get one of them back when Payne Haas is back during the Origin as well, you would think. But certainly that's still... It showed today that with Ford getting 20 less minutes and Barnett sort of just hovering around those minutes, like that, Aaron Clark was the one that got a bit of a boost.
Yeah. Well, I thought it would have been Barnett, but it was actually Clark.
Yeah, and it's not even just the Origin games, but it's the backing up from Origin. You can't imagine Ford's backing up from Origin playing 80 minutes or 70-plus minutes. So he's probably not a bad shout through the Origin period. I imagine he'll have a low break-even for the next couple of weeks now. So, yeah, it could be an option.
Would you put him, Tubes, as someone who's a trade-in and hold, or do you think he would end up being a trade-in, trade-out guy that you've got to be mindful for?
No, he'd be a trade. He'll end up being a trade-back-out guy, I think.
Yeah.
So... obviously, he was a keeper last year, but it's just that minutes rotation and the role. Yep. And they got so many good young forwards, the Warriors, so I don't see him holding those minutes.
Tubes, the Sharks versus the Dogs was the first game of Magic Round, and Nico Hines put on, I think, probably one of the most... It's like these 116 end up being probably a big relevant score. There wasn't a lot coming outside of Friday night. Nico had 116, a try and assist, and 26 point from conversions. I thought the Sharks really looked good on that right edge out there in that game, Tubes.
Yeah, he looked good. He's back to being his accumulator. The Dogs have just lost it. So I think Nico's probably a must through the bye period. They don't play next week, though, do they? They have the bye. So after next week, he'll probably come into the must territory, Nico Hines. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, I still don't feel great with the Sharks. It was a nice win, but I think it said more about the Dogs than it did about the Sharks.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good way to put it. Choose one thing you mentioned to me after the game was about Ronnie Mulatalo and just the amount of energy he brings to the Sharks and kind of gets him going. And he had an edge swap, didn't he? He's traditionally been on the left and Stone Street stayed left and Ronnie pushed out to the right, which is probably a good thing, with that being maybe Nico's side that he spends more time on. Ronnie had 2 tries for 80 points, 38 in base plus power. Little pod from round 13 onwards.
He's always a pod around this time, Ronnie. And, yeah, he's definitely up and about. Probably not bad outside of Ramian. I think I just need to wait and see. Nickera now, it sounds like he's going to go to Origin. But it's been a pretty successful side this year for the Sharks, that right edge, on occasion. So, yeah, Ronnie makes his own luck. So I don't mind him as a pod play. Probably worth looking at. I haven't really dug deep into the Sharks draw because I haven't just felt like investing much into him. But I know Nico's a buy, but it's whether the others are. They've got a pretty nice one, actually, just having a quick scan through. They've got the Dragons in a couple of weeks, so could be targeting Ronnie for the Dragons in round 14.
If only he was on the other side. It's the Dragons right and every other team's left that they're getting absolutely torn apart on, although there's probably not a bad spot to be against the Dragons, so could still benefit Ronnie. Jesse Colquhoun, his minutes really up. He had 75 points, all base horsepower, 61 minutes. Now, I guess a couple of factors we probably didn't think about, and I imagine a lot of the Jesse owners probably didn't play him this week. No Cam McInnes, so he was starting, but also 2 hookers in the rotation was always going to open up, like in hindsight. That was always going to open up good minutes, wasn't it? Because they obviously Brayley out, Barrels moved to the bench, and Puru started. So, yeah, good little bump for Jesse.
Yeah. Well, when's McInnes back? No, he's not out for too long, is he? So good for Jesse, but I don't see him being an option, really. I suppose some people might still hold on to him from the start.
Kaolito, 42 points. He had a try saver, and the rest was in base plus power. But like we were saying about the Sharks, were just going right. So the left was just out there catching goals.
Yeah, very disappointing for KL owners, I think, particularly ones that brought him 2 weeks ago coming off those monster scores. Sort of what we saw a bit earlier in the season, though. And, yeah, I think you said it, that the Cam McInnes in is big for KL. So I wonder if Cam McInnes out. Seems to be there's a correlation.
Bit of consistency there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. How funny, Tubes. We were sitting with Ballr contributor Cracker during this game, and he's a Jacob Preston owner. And geez, there was no bigger critic of Jacob Preston in all of Suncorp Stadium than Cracker for the first part of the game until Preston scored that try. He's ended up with 84 and 54 in base plus power. So pretty solid game for Presto.
Yeah, he Cracker was just unbelievable going off. I've never sat with him before during a game.
That's what it's like. That's how Cracker is. He's one of those SuperCoach watchers who just picks on his guy until they do something.
And the best was I'm like, oh, well, maybe if he'd taken all those runs and he was tired, he wouldn't have scored that try. And then he's just like, he could have been doing both. He's just so fired up, even after Preston scored. Preston had a good game. He's certainly not. I don't know what the Dogs' issue is, but I couldn't say it's Jacob Preston.
It's definitely not Jacob Preston. So Tili Tupanua, I'm still interested. He's that dual position. He's still going to be at a fairly good price. He's going to go up about 10K this week, so available for around 510. He got 80 minutes again, all in base plus power. I think if he keeps getting that roll, Tubes, he's well underpriced. He's going to have a couple of big games in him.
Yeah, I'm just not sure. No, he's not one of my boys. That's all. I don't know What do you reckon?
Is it just that you're worried about? Because like I know Matt's really similar to you. It's just like Satili's not worth considering. But is it just because you don't trust him to hold the role? Because like surely we can acknowledge if he's getting 80 minutes, he's like an underpriced, pretty good option. It's just you don't believe that he'll keep it?
I don't believe that he's an 80-minute edge player.
Okay.
And that's probably it. So at some point, he's not going to have the role.
Yeah.
Whether that's through, I think he's an NRL player. I think he's a very good impact player, and particularly through the middle. I just can't see him being an edge player for the Dogs longer term.
Next game was the Rabbitohs versus the Dolphins, and this was a disappointing one as a Rabbitohs fan to watch. But the big one was obviously Herbie Farnworth. The Dreamboat had a great game. Try assist, 22 points from tackle bust. He had 5 offloads and just a big bounce back after a few quiet weeks. Probably like you said, Tubes, you speculated maybe getting fired up for Roasty's Hottest 100, which was announced the next day, and he got number 1 the next day and the biggest score of the round.
What about Roasty's Hottest 100, just before I talk about Herbie, and the picture he put up of Herbie on his Instagram?
My goodness.
Does Herbie just have, is he sending Roasty these pics in DMs? Just wants to make sure that he's still top 100. That was ridiculous, that picture. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. I don't know. I can't say I've ever been tempted to want to lick a man's abs before, Jono, but they were very lickable.
I did not see that coming. Well, physically, Tubes, you obviously liked what you saw, but what did you like from a SuperCoach standpoint?
No, obviously he was back to his best. The right side was dominant last week. This side, they were giving early ball to Herbie. I thought Cody Nikorima supported him very well. Cody had an outstanding game. And him being strong on that left edge. Connolly Lemuelu
Nice.
Also had a good game, and that's only good for Herbie. So they were feeding him early ball at the back. He nearly scored another try, so he could have gone nearly closer to 170.
Yeah. Jackie Bostock Tubes is obviously a popular one this week. He's ended up in 30% of teams in that top 10%. 85 points, really nice junk try for the new owners, but 55 in base plus power. So that's now 2 really, really good base plus power weeks.
Yeah, I still think he's a potential buy if he doesn't make the New South Wales Blues side. Could be a great option. Obviously, 85 with a try. Maybe you do want it a little bit higher, but he's just got such great buy round coverage that he could still be a very good option for this week. He's not out of this stratosphere like an Asako. Yeah,
he's going to be about 580k or so, which still feels pretty fine. Obviously, it would have been nice to get him at that price, but 580k is still good value. Maxi Plath, geez, he looks good. He's just playing career best footy. 83 points with a try. He had that combo roll again, bit of hook, a bit of middle. 56 in base plus power, but he will not be an option if you believe all the reports. He is origin bound. So put a line through Maxi Plath. Tubes, I just want to use the Ballr player comparison tool over at baller.live, and I want to compare the man that you mentioned just before, Connolly Lemuelu, and his Dolphins back row teammate, Kuli Kefu Fini-Filiaki. Now, first things first, there was a team leaked today, this morning, I believe Peter Bedell leaked a kind of, this is what could be the Queensland team. And Fini-Filiaki wasn't in that team, which I thought was absolutely unbelievable. He had 59 points. His season average of baseless power is 69.3, but it has been down to the low 60s the last 4 weeks. Still strong, but not as good as it was early. Connolly Lemuelu, on the other hand, obviously he's getting 80 minutes as it is, and if Fini-Filiaki plays Origin, that is only going to be a good thing for Lemuelu. He had a line break, and then he had 54 in baseless power, and his baseless power average this year is 60.1, played 80 every week except one. Tubes, do you think Connolly Lemuelu is a really good kind of pod option? He's currently in 0.8% of SuperCoach teams in the top 10%.
Yeah, he's a good pod option because of what we just talked about with their buy schedule. If Fini-Filiaki's not in that Queensland side, he's 100% the better option, even at the price. And I think he'll be the one to look at getting. He's also just got such a high ceiling, Fini-Filiaki. I mean, Connolly does as well, but I feel like 3 tons this year, Fini-Filiaki. He could easily be one that you really want in your top 13 during those major buy rounds.
Yeah, I think it'd be huge if Fini-Filiaki misses Origin. He's going to be like a near must-have.
Max Plath wasn't in the team either.
Was he not?
No, it was a real old boys club team like Capewell, Nicola, It was a strange one, but Billy does these weird things.
He does.
Actually, we caught up with the Magic Sponge guys today before the footy, and that was a hot topic. They're all Queenslanders, and it was a hot topic about this league team, and we'll see what happens. But I think it's probably right. Like it's leaked from Badal, but I don't agree with the team, and I think it opens up plenty of possibilities for Fini Fuiaki. But like they got Cobbo and Fafita. Yeah, it's good to be a Blues fan if that's the team, I think.
We still got Laurie as our coach. Doesn't feel that good to be a Blues fan. It doesn't matter, I don't think. Anyway, I don't want to start on that. Tubes, Jermaine Osago, 56 points. No major attacking stats. Like you mentioned before, a lot of the ball was going left and not out to him on the right. 22 points in goals. He's obviously done a lot of the heavy lifting with that score. They scored a lot of points, the Finns. But that's the thing, though. Osago's a goal kicker. So, he averages 14 a game from goals. 22 is not crazy for him to get in one game. And I think for me, that's why he's still an okay option next week, even at $790K. If you're a Latrell owner, and we'll talk about Latrell very soon, but that downgrade of over $200K to Jermaine Osago makes that value feel better, even though the price isn't great.
Yeah, he's still an option for sure. I mean, he's going to be one of the biggest ceiling guys for next week. So I was happy as a non-owner to get away with it for this week. But yeah, he's obviously a very popular option so sort of I'm probably going to keep laying him. I don't know about you, Jono, but you're going to be worried as a non-owner.
If I was worried about cash, I'd lay him. But I think there's just so much cash around this year that it feels like it doesn't really matter that much. Latrell Mitchell, Tubes, he obviously did not have a good game. He looked completely gone the entire game. Every run, Tubes, it's one of those things where we were at the ground for this one and you could just see every single time he had a run, he'd then spend a minute getting attention from a trainer behind the scenes, just get looked after. I don't know how much that came through on TV. Probably because it's Trell. They probably had a camera following him every single step of the way, but it was very obvious at the ground. He's now officially ruled out of game one. He's removed himself from Origin contention. He won't play next week. Then South have a bye in round 13. Do you think that makes him a clear sell, or is it not as easy as that?
No, it's as easy as that. Lascelles
Mitchell.
Yeah, got to go. He's just too much cash. And when he is fit, he should be back in the Origin team. He's already a sell realistically over this Origin period anyway. So
no, he definitely was before. Yeah.
But he should, if he gets fit again and plays a game, then he's probably straight back into Origin for the Blues, you would think, anyway. So you're still now just selling him for this Origin period. And he didn't look great. So plenty of options, as you say. So much cash for Latrell owners. So definitely a Lascelles.
I agree that he's a Lascelles, but if he's available in round 15, I'd be heaven and earthing to get Latrell Mitchell back into my team for round 15 if he was fit, looking good and misses Origin, because say New South Wales win game one and Laurie just goes, all right, I'm sticking with my boys for this game. I'd be doing anything to get Latrell back in for round 15.
Don't know. I mean, I'm on a review show for a reason, John. I'm not forward thinking enough to get from round 11 to round 15 at this stage.
Tallis Duncan's last one for this game. He just had a fantastic game, and I think for owners, of which I am one, the base plus power the last 3 weeks have been a little bit down. He hadn't quite been getting through the runs, but this one he had 67 in base plus power and a line break and just a really good NRL game. So we'll see. Hopefully he misses Origin selection for the Tallis Duncan owners. Down to the Tigers versus the Seagulls, and one who isn't going to miss Origin selection is Haumole Olakau'atu. How good was he?
So good. What a different man he's been. I feel like we say this every week, but he was missing, went missing the first 3 weeks, it felt like. And he's just been a beast since. He gets better every week. This was easily his, I don't know, it probably wasn't easily his best game NRL wise, but it was certainly his biggest Supercoach wise. He just was at his destructive best and actually getting the line breaks and people supporting him. And that right edge for Manly, left edge for Tigers was just a big hunting ground.
I know you said you don't want to forward think too much, Shoes. I'm going to make you do it again. Is he the endgame second row forward in all of Supercoach?
I don't know if he's the end game. I still obviously there's Simi Sasangi. There's going to be Hudson Young. He's definitely. You want him in. He's in the top 4, so I think you're going to be wanting to own him coming out of the Origin period for sure.
What about Clayton Faulalo? He had a really good game. He had 126 points, a try, 2 assists, 4 line assists, but also 38 points from runs. He was churning through the work. He's 570 odd K. He's going to be coming into next week. Manly are playing. Tubes, any chance of Faulalo as a pod?
I think for sure. I haven't kept up with the Turbo injury news, but I think that he's a great option. He looked great on the weekend. I didn't realize he had the ball playing ability. I think I said to you, or it could have been someone else, I don't know. But in Forum we trust. Like, why did we doubt him? Like everyone was going, why is Cooler not fullback? Why are they picking Faulalo? He looked fantastic. Obviously available in centre wing. Any fullback any fullback playing centre wing from a Supercoach perspective is typically valuable, and he was no exception. He's now going to have, as you said, a negative break even with an okay buy schedule, I think, Manly. So yeah, I think he's definitely one to look at this week at that price range.
Taniela Paseka, I don't think he's going to be one that anyone's going to pick up, but he just continues to get the job done. He had 79 points, crashed over for his second try of the year, 48 minutes, 52 in base plus power. He's obviously really highly owned. I would not recommend him as a purchase, but he's going to be a good one just to be able to play anytime you need over this entire buy period, and that continued again. Tolu Kula, Tubes, you mentioned him when you're talking about Clayton Faulalo. Kula's had 74. He's had a try and assist, only 24 in base plus power. I'm starting to wonder, is there something going on that's preventing him from getting through the work? Because we're seeing it week after week now. And he was on 60 after like 30 minutes, and he's ended up on 74.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a sell now because of the Origin, the buy factor, in terms of him getting some good buy coverage. But as soon as that good buy coverage is over, I think everyone has to sell him. Like, too reliant on attacking stats. And, I don't know if something's going wrong, but he seems fully fit, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, he looks like he's stretching out fine. Well, like when he gets the ball in attacking areas, it's a weird one. Alex Twal, geez, it was disappointing to be walking around Caxton Street and Suncorp wearing my Twala only shirt that Ballr had out this weekend as a bit of a giveaway, and the man gets ruled out. He's going to be back around 13 is what all the chatter is. Bit of a knee injury. They sat him this week to let it get better. Then they have round 12 is the bye for them, and then he'll be back for round 13. So that's important for owners because the Tigers then play all the way through from 13 to 19, and he's a great one to own. Another one, Tube, speaking of pictures, how good were some of the pictures of Twal looking over the weekend?
I think NRL Physio posted one announcing he was out, and his arms are ridiculous. It was just chisel on chisel. I think we've talked about him before, but he probably just needs a rest from carrying those arms around on that knee. They're that big.
He had veins in places that most people don't have places. It's just ridiculous, Alex Twal. Taylor May was the other injury news out of them. He had a dislocated shoulder after 72 minutes. And that's his second of the year, so not a good sign for Taylor May. Who it might be good for, though, is Patrick Herbert, because Patrick Herbert's job security has just improved. He had 82, 2 try assists, 48 in base plus power. He's going to be available for under 300K, Tubes. You mentioned that really good run. Is he going to be on the watch list for you come round 13?
No, I've never been on the Tigers bandwagon. I mean, obviously, Tyrrell May, Twal, maybe KPP, but yeah, I'm happy to lay all of those outside backs from the Tigers' perspective, I think, moving forward.
You were the biggest Tigers guy in Supercoach after their first game. You were saying how many Tigers is too many.
Things change.
Kaipi's Paul. He's definitely on my radar, Choose, for round 13. He's now going to be very fairly priced at around 630K. He had 80 with a try and 59 in base plus power. He's going to be my first trade in for round 13.
Yeah, fair enough. He looked good. He did get that junky try, but as you said, the base plus power's there. They haven't looked great the last few weeks, but they can probably turn it around.
They haven't, but I wonder how much of that is not having the tall Terrell May double act. Like the last 2 weeks, they've had one sitting out. And I just think those two were so important to their punch and their go forward. So we'll see how it looks in round 13.
And Appy's been out, hasn't he? Or was he back?
Yes.
Appy's been out for the last few
suspended.
weeks. Yeah.
Yep. And Terrell May played 80 minutes as well this week for his score of 82. What about Ethan Roberts? We spoke about how funny it was that he was in the 18-man jersey, obviously with 12 coming out. Roberts played. Not only played, he played 61 minutes off the bench. That's Rouchy stuff, sitting out the first 20 and coming on for 60. I think that was influenced by the injuries. I think they did a bit of a reshuffle with the Taylor May things. That probably helped with those minutes. But, 50 points with a line break, 44 in base plus power. Not bad for the Roberts owners.
Yeah. Pretty funny. There was a couple of Ballr boffins that were up at Magic Round with us, and people didn't believe that they were actually Ballr boffins. They thought we were just making them up. But one of the Ballr boffins, he VC'd Herbie and looped him, so he had to cop the AE of Ethan Roberts. So there's big cheers going on when he made that line break late. And people are probably looking around thinking, what's going on? Why are these people cheering a line break by this random Tigers when they're down by 30?
That's SuperCoach.
Yeah. So,
how good's him keeping Ethan Roberts' score and losing James Tedesco's?
Yeah.
The Roosters versus the Cowboys for me, Tubes. It was one of the games around I was the most excited for and one of the ones I was the most let down by. I thought it was going to be an absolute points fest. Ended up being 12-18. Scotty Drinkwater, 55, with a try and bombed another one late. Tubes, you were up and about for a second when you thought he got that late try and just bobbled out.
Yeah, What can you do? Like, as in, it was just one of those moments that I'm sure he'd love to have back, but yeah, no good.
Liam Sutton on debut, he had 52 points with a try assist. He had 29 tackles, 7 runs. Job security looks fairly good. Obviously, Dearden's gone for a while. Jake Clifford, maybe even a sneaky origin chance. We'll see. So job security looks great. What do you think, Tubes? Is there any interest at all? He is dual, halfback 5'8", available at 201K. Cowboys play next week.
No, not for me. From watching,
you didn't mind him, did you?
I didn't mind him as an NRL player, that's for sure. Like, I thought Clifford did well in taking control of the team, and then they've obviously got Drinky, who can just inject himself more involved. He was more of a run first, 5'8", and seemed to be good defensively. But yeah, certainly not SuperCoach relevant, even at that very cheap price.
Helam Lukey and Jackson Purdue, I think they're just the biggest clear case of if they make Origin, you sell them. If they don't make Origin, they're still fine to hold because they play round 12.
Purdue's got to be in Origin, so I think he'll be a sell.
That team, he was number 20, that league team, which means he would be available for selection because only 19.
Maybe me and you were looking at different league teams. I thought the team had him at centre. So maybe we're looking at two different leagues.
I think we are. And one of us is looking at Bedell and one of us is looking at fake Peter Bedell, maybe.
Well, anyway, I think Purdue will be in and around, and yeah, he'll be a sell.
What about Cody Ramsey? I'm going to need to hear more from the Magic Sponge. I don't know. He's still out there going hard at Caxton Street, probably as we speak, according to his Instagram from a couple of minutes ago, Brian. So we might not hear an update for a while. But Cody Ramsey had 66, trying 36 in base loss power, but he did come off hurt after 65 minutes. So we need more information there because he could be a good pickup from round 13. Dan Tupou also hurt. So if Ramsey's injury is minor, he's back for 13. Could be decent job security there.
Yeah. I don't know. I tell you, Jono, I feel like I'm not doing any good service here for the snappers because I think I'm rattled. Magic Round's finally getting to me. But yeah, I mean, I think it's neither here nor there for me on that one.
I'll tell you my favourite thing about how beaten down you are by Magic Round after 3 days is you don't even drink. It's just the standing up and the walking around has killed you.
Oh, there's still been big nights. They've been late. It's the lack of sleep that I think is getting to me
here. Yeah. I had an hour today when I got home off the plane and it just completely changed my life.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. The Eels versus the Storm, Tubes. Cam Munster, finally, last week he scored 2 tries for only 70. This week he got it done, 127, trying 2 assists. And I thought he looked absolutely fantastic. He was just like Origin Munster. It's almost like Origin's coming around.
Origin's around. Here comes Cam Munster. Makes sense. Again, I feel like I say this every week in some way, shape or form. He was playing the Eels. Doesn't play the Eels every week. So he was looking good, but I really think that the Dragons are the worst team in the comp, and I think the Eels are if not the second worst, they're certainly the second best one to play from a Supercoach perspective.
Harry Grant, another just confirming he's a clear hold through the Origin buy period. He got 96. He's still got a break even of minus 17, and he's going to be back up in his 700K. So there's just no way you're selling Harry Grant coming into Origin now. And like we said, Tubes, the Storm, they need wins, and they back up from every mini buy round, which means Harry Grant, if he gets through the Origin games okay, he's probably playing at least 60 minutes in those games. So he's a very clear hold. My favourite player in the NRL this year is Cooper Clark. Big, thick Coop. He has busted 81 points. He's had a try and 54 in base plus power in 40 minutes. And the good news for the owners is that next week, Udikamanu likely plays Origin, which just means that Big Coop gets a nice big role.
Yeah, looked unbelievable. Really like him. You're not buying him now. But
no, the price, too far gone.
But I can only see his minutes going up just in terms of Bellamy trusting him more, being good. I mean, probably the only thing against him is just being a first-year player. Will he burn out at some point?
Moses Leo, Tubes, you held the patient Moses Leo holder, and you played. And Jesus was looking good. 59, great finish for his try. Just came off after 52 minutes hurt. Crueled your pod selection.
Yeah, I played him instead of Couchman, and that was a decision because of all the rumours about Ponga and Marju being out, and I was worried about if they were out, I didn't have anyone to then switch to, and I just got an AE.
I thought you played him over Udo.
No, but I wasn't playing Udo either. So
okay.
I was, I did play him over Udo, but I wasn't playing Udo either. So I had to leave out Couchman to do that. So it didn't cost me too much. But yeah, Moses, he was coming back down the mountain, and he was looking good. And he, unfortunately injured, and it didn't look like a great knee injury. And so, I think he was already a sell for most people, but he'll definitely be a sell this week.
Still, Fatlongo's obviously still a hold, but 49 with a try assist, big break even of 118. You don't want to see him lose too much value because you kind of want to eventually, I'm assuming everyone's plan is eventually to try and turn him into like one of the keeper fullbacks at the back end of the year.
It's hard to say, is he a keeper fullback? It was very disappointing. He had that electric line break towards the end, but didn't quite score the try. But yeah, very disappointing Supercoach. No fullback popped off though this weekend, did they, from a Supercoach perspective?
They didn't. It was one of the worst fullback rounds I can remember.
Yeah.
All this money in fullbacks and just really poor scoring. Kalen Ponga was the only one who went okay, and it even took a little bit of late junk there. Tubes, I was having a chat with a couple of ballers at Caxton Street last night, and Ronald Volkman was one that they were saying one of them was going to bring in. Available at halfback only, which for me is... he should get 5'8" dual next week, though, I think, actually, as well. He's played enough games. 404K. He now has a 3-round average of 67. He had 54 with a try assist last night. I was trying to say this to the person last night. There is not a world where you could talk me into Ronald Volkman as an option for next week.
No, not at all. That feels like a buy round. You know where people's heads just start going crazy around the buys because they feel like they focus so much on the buy round period. But Volkman's not an option. We'll talk about him in a bit, but like Fletcher Sharp coming good at 5'8". There's going to be a couple of nice options. Obviously, if you do get Jaden Campbell, we talked about earlier, he will get the dual at some point and could be a run home 5'8". I just wouldn't be spending huge amounts of trades at 5'8" though at the moment.
And if I was, I was going to say, if I was using him at 5'8", it's not on Ronald Volkman. Let's get into today's games and Tubes. The Titans versus the Knights. Dane Gagai, like you spoke about him earlier in the pod when we spoke about Dom Young. He just looks great. It's funny because he started the year off absolutely on fire, and then he had a couple of really quiet weeks, and it turned out, I remember NRL Fizz posted that he'd been getting like injections into his ribs just to be able to play, and that really just completely killed his base plus power output. This week and last week, he just looks back again.
Yeah, he looked unbelievable today, setting up Dom Young. He was probably Like that right side was just humming. And as I said, like Dylan Brown looks so good. I know we've given a lot of flowers to Ponga on this show, but Dill Brown has been great this season as well, and he looked great out there today, running, picking the right time to give early ball to Gagai. And then just that try from Gagai from dummy half. Obviously, it was bad defensive work. I think by your boy, Bo Fermor. But yeah, it was just such a Gagai try when he's feeling himself, taking that run off from dummy half.
Just seeing somebody going, I'm beating this bloke.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had 18 points in tackle busts. Like that's what you get when Gags is on. That's the kind of thing. He's a strong, powerful man.
I know you just brought up my Tigers chat from earlier, which I'm not 100% sure I did, but I'm sure it's in the clip, so I believe you. But how many nights is going to be too many? Cup round 13 onwards.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because Gagai and Dom Young, I think, are really legitimately good options, as is Dylan Brown probably as a pod halfback play now, but you just can't have them all.
Yeah.
Fletcher Sharp Tubes, he had 93, actually played at left centre today and scored 2 tries. And I was excited when I saw he was playing left centre. As someone as well who owned Greg Margie, I was thinking, like, now I really like this little stack out wide. Obviously, the Greg part didn't pan out too well. But Best has a calf injury, so there's not a lot of news out yet about how long that's going to keep him out for. But I don't mind Fletcher Sharp at centre.
I think it's great for Fletcher Sharp. I don't think it's good for Greg Marju. Not because I think Fletcher Sharp isn't a great player, but he's more that jinky, cuts back in, or just beats a man type player. Like, he hasn't had to develop those real fast hands that Best has been working on.
And Best has really improved that part of his game.
Oh, massively. And he's also, Best leans towards, I think, floating that overs line and just running straight and hard and draws the winger in. So if he does pass, it's setting up his outside man.
Yeah.
Whereas today, it felt like most times it went left, Fletcher was either obviously running himself or dinking back in. So great but I suppose the big thing for Fletcher owners or prospective owners is, again, at the ground, it felt like he looked pretty good, unencumbered from a fitness point of view. And I think, he's definitely on the rise. We might have seen his floor, and he's rising back up.
Yeah, and speaking of looking good, like that second try that Fletch scored was just pure pace. He just got on the outside and burnt them with pace. He wouldn't have done that 2 weeks ago. He wouldn't have been able to do that. And that's another one where, like, speaking of Bradman Best probably would have turned it back inside to Greg, because Bradman Best he's a barrel, Brady Barrels. Like, he's a big, strong man. He's not going to have the speed to get there. So it's a very different kind of relationship. Dylan Lucas Tubes had a 70, all in base plus power. I did think that with Fletcher Sharp moving to left centre, what's your face about? Have I said something wrong?
Didn't he score a try?
Did Lucas score?
Yeah, that's why I'm pretty sure he scored off a kick. It was that awesome throw back in, and then he scored. No, he was given no try. Sorry, I'm making this up. He was given no try.
Okay.
They threw it back in, but it hit the line. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. He pretty sure 70 on base plus power, but I just thought with Fletcher Sharp moving to left centre, Sandon Smith played on the left edge. I did think their timing between each other looked a little bit clunky, Sandon Smith and Dylan Lucas. Yeah,
I mean, and it will be. Until I thought Sandon Smith looked a little bit clunky, like as a Marju owner and a Ponga owner.
Yeah, the left didn't look as fluid.
I thought he held the ball way too much and tried to make it a bit more of a Sandon show. But as Chris was pointing out to me, sitting next to me, C-Mac, he was saying, like, it's hard to come off the bench and not want to just inject yourself into the game, even if the right thing to do is just give the ball to your best player. So that'll just come if he's in the 5'8" role for a little bit and Sharp's on the edge. I think they'll just build those combinations. Sticking with that left edge, Tubes, Greg Marju had obviously the try off an intercept. He really didn't get put in any great positions to succeed in any other way today. The other thing that I thought that I was a little bit down on, and I brought him in this week at big money, and I was saying to you boys yesterday, my gut was telling me don't bring in Greg, but my head was saying it was a smart and logical play. And watching today, 35 in base plus power, and he just doesn't seem to be coming in for those hit-ups off the line. Like today, the last couple of weeks, I can give it a bit of a pass because they weren't very basic games. Newcastle did have long stretches where they were trying to
work the ball off their try line. He just wasn't coming in as much as we've seen from Greg in the past.
And he was at the start of the game. So I don't know if he picked up a niggle or something, but because everyone was watching closely, but he was on 19.
Yeah, really early.
In really quick, and then just didn't involve himself in the game at all. So yeah, it was disappointing, but a lot of people own him now. You're probably not bringing him in now if you don't own, so we're just riding this out. Now. Yeah, we're just riding this wave.
He's going to be very expensive, Gregory. Kalen Ponga, 66, had a nice late junky assist. I thought at times he looked a little bit like hurt today, like not badly, but just there was a couple of times the trainers were checking on him. I'm not sure how it came across at the ground, but didn't look quite himself, KP.
I thought he was getting his head into playing halfback. Like he started, I know he's been playing more dominant, but it just wasn't, as you say, as fluid. I don't know if it was a niggling injury, but he wasn't on today. It wasn't his best game. But he was, what I did feel is that he was trying really, really hard.
Definitely.
And so that's all you could sort of want from it.
Titan side of things, Tubes. Oliver Pascoe had a 99. He had a try assist in 56 in base plus power, but only 52 minutes, and then he was taken off for Somerton, which I think is tricky.
No, I feel that has to be wrong. We were at the ground, and me and Matt were talking about that, and it just felt wrong. He was on for a lot. It felt like he was on. Anyway, I might be wrong.
That's the official NRL.
Yeah, no, I know. It just, but it could be right. He looks unbelievable.
Oh, you know what? I've just checked as we're recording, and they've updated to 68 minutes.
Yeah, so it felt wrong. Like we were at the ground going, there's no way that could be right. Like,
yeah.
Because anyway, I think he's a buy after watching him today.
He's a good player, isn't he?
He's so good. And he picks good moments to run. He obviously scored that try. He nearly backed up and scored another.
Yeah.
But then also I think he obviously set up that other one. I think he just picks good moments. And Cooper Bye looked very good as someone to run off. Tino coming back to his best form. I just think if the Titans get a good running hooker at this price, I really don't mind it. I was against the buy last week, and obviously now, but now watching today, I feel like he's not must have, but
not must have.
But I certainly feel more comfortable going Harry to him over this period.
I think there's a chance he could be just, if he's getting 70 minutes a game, he could just be a second hooker hold for the rest of the year. Like it's not necessarily like we're talking about trades getting low. He doesn't have to be a trade in, trade out scenario if he keeps that role.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's one I'll definitely take a look at. I feel better about it being 68 minutes and not 52 as well. Because 52, I was thinking, like, that's not much. But 68's much nicer.
Yeah, it did feel like Somerton just got some token minutes at the end. He did have an injury, which he played through. So we'll probably need to find out about that, Pascoe. He had a hip drop tackle on him and hurt his ankle, but he
did, that's right. Adam Aho, Tubes, he has had a 21. And the most disappointing thing is he got 52 minutes today. Chris Randall failed his HIA, so that kept him on the field for the remainder of the game. So I guess the positive is that it means Adam Aho is a huge chance of starting and playing 80 next week and could be a valuable number for round 12. That's
the best thing for owners going around. If you owned him this week, you're assuming he was going to have a small score. It's likely he now gets 80 minutes next week, which is the whole reason you probably held on to it.
Yeah. Waz versus the Broncos. Tanner Boyd was the big news there, Tubes. It looks like it's an ACL, which will be his season over after just 7 minutes into this game. And they were saying on commentary, it was Magic Round last year that Lukey Metcalf also got hurt. So it's just a bit of a cursed game for the Waz. But
it was nothing too. It was just so innocuous. Like he was just stepping. Yeah.
Tough footage watching him nearly crying with his parents in the change rooms. Very, very sad after what a good story it's been for the Boyd leavers. I want to, use our baller player comparison tool again to look at Tomato Martin and Luke Metcalf because it's going to be one of these two who likely come in to replace Tanner Boyd. So Tomato Martin was the one who played today. He's available as halfback and 5'8". He's very cheap, $235K. He had a try and 2 assists for 81 points when he came on. And then the other option is Lukey Metcalf, who is $613K. he just might have a chance of coming back in and being their dominant halfback again. If he comes in, he's likely to goal kick as well. I heard some people speculating about, well, how come Metcalf's not even being picked in New South Wales Cup this week? What's the go with him? Is he out of favour? But old mate Webster made it very clear. He actually said they didn't want to play Metcalf until he had his future sorted out because they didn't want to have him get some kind of injury that might impact that. And now he's got his future sorted. He's going to be playing again. So big chance he just comes straight in at halfback. Which of those would you prefer, Tubes? Is it easy to say the one you prefer is the 250K guy?
No, if obviously it comes down to who gets picked, but I'd rather Metcalf.
That's what I'm saying.
Get picked, and I'd rather, he's a buy next week if Metcalf gets picked. I think 600K
up against the Dragons.
I know they got the Panthers after that, but they get the round 15 buy as well. Metcalf has got a great ceiling, and I feel like he'll be coming in with a point to prove. As you say, goal kicking. Warriors pack is just unbelievable. So it's and as we've seen Tanner Boyd play off the back of and Tamari Martin today, they just once they get steamrolling, it'd be very fun to play behind as a halfback.
Jackson Ford, Tube, 62 minutes coming off the bench, had a try overturned. Were you up and about when he scored that try?
I was very up and about because it was literally a minute after coming on. I think I turned him out and went, so much for coming on after 20 minutes or something like that. Real smug because I owned him and he didn't. And yeah, it was overturned. But I mean, he sort of then just did what you expected to do in the next 60 minutes.
He did. 56 in base horsepower in that time. One of my favourite things today was Lofi Khan Pereira, only because Matt pumped him up as being a big pod on the Tuesday show. So good. He had -2 with a sin bin. He only had 20 in base plus power. But the big one as well, -12 from errors. Just a disaster game for AKP.
Yeah, disaster. And Matt did talk him up, and there was definitely a baller that told me over the weekend he was bringing in AKP, and I hope that he didn't because that was a disastrous game.
Tubes, I'll say, I can't remember exactly who it is, and I don't want to out him anyway, but someone in the Ballers Only Discord captained AKP today. Yeah, had the big C on him, hoping he was just going to get a big run of tries. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened, and that score will drop out. But obviously the matchup next week, Tubes, like that Sedu 2 side for the Dragons. We'll talk about that when we get to the next game. Khan Pereira coming up against Sedu 2 next week is a very, very nice matchup.
If he's not suspended.
Also true. Also true. The Broncos side of things, Zabe Willison, good to see him back in the middle, 66 in 69 minutes. And Phil Coates, just one to watch, 52 points, an assist, a line break, and 32 in base horsepower. So he's one for the watch list. No, not one for your watch list?
I think Reece Walsh thought he was faster than what he was. Like, he threw a few of those big balls, and Coates was like diving just to make there, like to get there. I don't know. Like, I mean, he looked fine. They just got belted, so it's hard to really say he's a debutante winner.
Absolutely. Last game of the round, the Panthers versus the Dragons, and Nathan Cleary was the most captain player of the round, 85% captain in the top 10%, and just a late junk try assist to completely salvage that score. You didn't captain him. You anti-potted him as captain, and you're filthy.
I wasn't filthy. It would have been nice. So I anti-potted and I captained the milk. I brought in the milk this week. Obviously, I'm not disappointed with his score or him as captain. He outscored Cleary. So put that up on the chalkboard if we're keeping score. But yeah, that was the junkiest of all junk tries, basically, or try assists, I suppose, from that side of things, and really did probably give all of those Cleary captains just a bit of a sigh of relief for him getting a decent score.
Massively. And it's funny because, like, it's easy to say that everyone owns him, but still 15% of people didn't captain him. So you want to beat that 15% of people who took a different option, but probably didn't beat him by much, but it's something. Tommy Jenkins, Tubes, I thought, like, obviously 2 tries, 109 points. I thought he looked unbelievable today from an actual NRL standpoint. He was, like, looking to offload all the time. His defensive reads were fantastic. The way he got the ball down for that first try, just wouldn't give up.
Yeah, and I thought that was unbelievable too, because it was unbelievable. And then when I watched the replay and saw it was against Sedu 2 and Dan Atkinson, I sort of checked myself into reality a little bit again. But he looks very good. so good under the high ball, both in defense and attack. It was my first experience as a milkman owner, and it didn't disappoint. That's for sure. He gets in there and does a lot of work too, coming off the sting, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, it was a good game for him today. I was very jealous. I guess you're just hoping now he doesn't make Origin tubes because he's got to be a sneaky chance. I don't think he will.
He won't. But you're right. He should be in. I think he deserves to be in the conversation.
Isaiah Papali'i also had a great game today. 97 points, 80 minutes, scored a nice try. I thought he looked really good.
Yeah, I brought him in too. I brought him and Milky.
Did you?
Yeah. So I think it was. We talked about I'm trying to become a bit more of a head-to-head player. Unfortunately, I think I've lost my head-to-head this weekend. So that was a good start. But part of even being a head-to-head player was captaining Milk to try and come back, and it nearly helped. But for those that aren't as concentrated on the bye, the Panthers have a great head-to-head non-bye round schedule. So I brought in the Milk and Papali'i, and so I was watching him very closely also, and he got through a mountain of work and looked fantastic. And yeah, I think he's just a great option. He's still pretty fairly priced as well. Once they get through round 12 bye, obviously, I think he could be an option for people in round 13.
I think round 15 is tricky, and I'm pretty sure they missed 15 as well. 15 and 19, I believe they missed. So it's just tricky because round 15 is looking tough for people. But I agree, the price is good, and his base plus power is back, and the minutes are big. Speaking of big workers, Tubes, the Couchman brothers, what about Toby? 75 minutes, 93 points. And look, I imagine that he got a bit of a minutes boost this week. Moses Sully came off hurt, and then so did Hamish Stewart. And obviously, that's the thing, though, when you're a couchman, you can soak up minutes, and Toby soaked up and put in a lot of work to boot. Ryan had 75 minutes, 59 minutes with that new starting lock roll. There was people hoping, could he play 80? And it looks like the answer is no, he won't. It's going to stay a pretty consistent role with what we were seeing off the bench.
Which is still just unbelievable.
Yes.
Yeah, both of them.
He's had 75.
And they just accumulate so well. Toby doing that against the Panthers. We can't wrap the Couchmans enough, but yeah, unbelievable.
I think we've wrapped him every Sunday snap of the year, and probably will be for the rest of them.
I'd like to be wrapping him in the Blues jersey on next Wednesday night.
I'd love to be wrapping in a Blues jersey. Sedu too, Tubes, he had 60 points. And he keeps getting it done from a super coach perspective. He's quite playable. There wouldn't be many weeks where you've had to play Sedu 2 and you'd be walking away disappointed from the score. But I'm just scared about how long he can actually stay in this team. I guess the good thing is people keep getting hurt for the Dragons. Like Moses Sully's gone now as well. So maybe he
and then the backup centre, I think, hurt his shoulder at the end of the game as well.
Buchanan.
So.
Yeah. So it looks like he's just going to retain it just through last man standing stuff. But the big thing is just whoever plays against him is a target. There's no way at the moment with his defensive capabilities. Last week we saw Greg scored 2 tries, which were great. And there were 3 tries which Sedu 2 could have stopped him, but just wasn't strong enough to do. And then today, that one-on-one, Milky Jenkins, just one-on-one with him, and Milky just made it look easy.
And the kick try for Milky as well. Sedu
didn't contest.
Didn't defend that well.
Yeah.
Dropped a couple. Yeah, he hasn't had the greatest of years in a poor year for the Dragons.
But looks good with the ball. He's a good runner of the ball, and that's getting him SuperCoach points. Yeah. So that's what it comes down to. All right, Tubes, that brings out the round review to a close. I want to get your thoughts. The big baller moves brought to you by the Ballr Team Builder tool. As always, when you're waiting for lockout to open up, get in the Ballr Team Builder and get your trades going. Tubes, are you going to be making anything next week? You're saying you're a head-to-head man. Do you even care about round 12?
I don't think I'll be making any trades next week for my team because
not even Pasco.
I might get Pasco actually. They play the Sea Eagles, don't they, on Saturday night? So I might look at getting Pasco. I don't mind getting. If I was making a trade, I'd probably be getting Pasco and Fulalo.
Wow.
From Manly as well. I really think he's. I mean, pending. As I said, I haven't researched the Tommy Turbo news. But he'll have that good negative break even. Really like his role. And they play the Titans next week at 4 Pines Park on Saturday night. So has the potential to go big, which is what you're looking for. in round 12?
I am definitely doing Latrell Mitchell to Jermaine Osako. Like, that's locked and loaded. Big chance of going Cheese up to Pascoe. And then I'm looking at Nathan Cleary, maybe down to Luke Metcalf. Because I really like Tanner Boyd for the bye period. And I kind of see Metcalf coming in as being a very similar thing, goal kicking for a really good team who has great bye coverage and plays the Dragons next week. So if Lukey Metcalf comes in, I'll take a big look at that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, definite option. Oh, the one thing we forgot to just speak about, this I feel like talking about it because it popped in my head, but Ruben Garrick also kicked goals for Manly on the weekend. So
I did not pick that up, even with Fogarty back.
Yeah, so with Fogarty back, Ruben Garrick still kicked, and so had a pretty good game. So again, just thinking about that Titans matchup,
that's a good call.
Could be another option to think about.
Ruben Garrick is like a proven SuperCoach gun when he's a goal kicking guy. So that's a really good call. I wonder if that's a long term thing or if it's just a Fogarty kind of getting back into the swing.
Yeah, don't know. And I'm double checking. I'm not making this up because, as I said, it's been a bit of a hazy weekend. No, kicked 8 goals, seven from 8.
Tubes, you will be getting a very nice, well-deserved rest. I'll be back on Tuesday with Matt and a special guest, I believe, this week we're getting on, who we spent a bit of time with at Magic Round Tubes. So going to be good to get him on for the first time this year. Won't say who it is just in case it doesn't pan out, but we're looking forward to getting him on, and it should. Tubes, great Magic Round. Your performance was outstanding all weekend. Love hanging out with you, Matt, Dan, C-Mac, Cracker, and all the Ballr Boffins from behind the scenes. Just a great all-around group of blokes, and thank you to Ballr for organising the weekend, Tubes. It was so much fun.
Yeah, and thanks to everyone that came to the Ballr meetup. Like, it was 4 hours, and people just kept coming. Like, I was ready to go, and then all of a sudden, more people turn up late. Like, it was good. It was so good.
You and I were saying when we got to the footy after the meetup, we were just like, was not a bad bloke there. Like, every single person that we met and had a chat with were like really nice, just good people. So we see that in the Ballers Only Discord. We know it's a really nice, good community, but it was good to meet them in the flesh. And yeah, just so much fun. Thanks for, like you said, thanks for everyone to come and said hello. And we look forward to it being even bigger next year.
You beauty!